أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So today is the second lesson in the series. We started it, and it's the 16th lesson for the entire series. And today we will be talking about the five major objectives of Islam. So, what are they? They can be thought of as um, kind of the driving motivation behind um, the the jurisprudence rulings. Okay, so those things are the things that actually kind of drive why do we do things? Why Islam is telling us to do something and not doing something. So if we figure out the wisdom behind something, then it's could be under one of those five. Okay, what are they? The first one is the preservation of the self, or you can say the preservation of life. The second one is preservation of the intellect. The third one is the preservation of religion. The fourth one is preservation of honor. And the fifth and last one is preservation of property. They are in this order because the first is the one that actually makes the second available. So the one before makes the one after it feasible. And therefore, we start, for example, with preservation of the self or preservation of life. Because without it, if a person is dead, not in this world, they don't have their intellect, they don't have the religion, they don't have the honor, they don't have the property. So everything depends and stands on the first one, which is life or the human self itself. So preserving it means we are going to be preserving everything after it. After everything comes after it will be preserved by it. Then we have um, the preservation of intellect. So the first one, the preservation of life or preservation of self, it comes to prohibits for a person, for example, to commit suicide. It prohibits that a soul to be killed. I know we're talking about humans, but humans are like the first basis. The first basis we talked about here is preservation of life, because this is the basis of whatever comes after it. The same exact thing. The human is the basis of this world. If there is an animal sick, they can help it. If there is a disaster, they can do whatever. So humans are the ones helping the animals and helping the insects and should be helping the environment because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that um, it is He who created you from this earth and He settled you um, therein, means to build it. استعمركم فيها. It's not to be settled only and to be living here, but amara means to build, to make it thrive. So our existence here is to show that we follow the command of Allah to live a good and a noble life and a happy life, and at the same time to build this world. So if humans doesn't exist, they they can't help animals, they can't help the environment, and with that, everything that get you know followed by the existence of humans will also vanish. The same thing regarding the human itself, the human life. If human life doesn't exist, then the intellect doesn't exist. The same thing regarding religion, the same thing regarding honor, the same thing regarding property. So the second thing is the preservation of intellect. Preservation of intellect means that we preserve the or protect the mind, because the mind is the thing that actually make you think, make you obligated. Obligation is because of the mind. If a person is insane or, crazy, then they do not have any obligations. So the intellectual mind, how we think and how we analyze and how we um, think about things, is what makes us actually, eligible to receive religion. And regarding the preservation of intellect or the mind, we protect it from corruption by learning. We protect it from chemicals to destroy it, like alcohol and drugs, as they remove this intellect, even for 1 second. That's why, for example, when a person is asleep, they're not obligated. So obligation is for people who are sane, awake, and not under the influence, because whenever the intellect or the mind goes away, then at that time we lose our capability of analyzing and thinking. And for you to be eligible and able to receive revelation, you need your mind. Therefore, preservation of intellect or preservation of the mind is the basis where humans can receive the revelation, and now they have a religion. Otherwise, everything will be, related to their um, innate. They do things like animals, they get married like animals, they eat like animals, they kill like animals. But what separates humans from animals is the intellect. They can think. Therefore, they can take the consequence. So, um, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, honored people who actually follow a path to learn, to the point where the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam said, whoever follows a path seeking knowledge, God will make ease for him, um, um, God will make ease for him a path to paradise. So learning and knowledge and thinking better and having wisdom and higher wisdom and thinking correctly is one of the objectives of Islam, one of the objectives of religion, one of the objectives of how a person can be more perfect or seeking the path of perfection. Therefore, Islam is never ever will be against science, never ever will be against learning. If this learning and this science is correct and have correct basis and according to the objective observation and have correct rules, then Islam supports it 100%, and you would never see contradiction in the book of Islam, because the one who created the universe with all its laws and sciences, Allah is the one who revelated the Quran. So it's impossible for the Quran to contradict the science or the intellectual correct path. And then when you have this intellect, so after now you have preserved life and preserved yourself, then now you are, because you're alive, you have intellect, now you have preserved the intellect. Now you can be obligated. And now we have the third stage, which is preservation of religion. Religion is the guidance. Religion in Arabic means the obligation. You're obligated to something. As long as you're obligated to something, then it's kind of a religion. When you say, I'm going to take care of myself, this is kind of a religion. This is you're obligated to something, you're following something. You may fall short, but you don't think it's the right thing. It means it's something we can call it a religion, language wise. So, a religion is something you follow, is something you intentionally want to be at. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there is no compulsion in religion because it's a path a person takes. Whether that path was right or wrong, it's up to the person to decide and to see and up to that path. But we have the freedom to choose whatever we want. Our duty is to uncover whether this is right or wrong. Then people will choose whatever they want, and then they will be judged by the one who owns them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, preservation of religion means we do not disbelieve, because now we're talking about the religion of Islam. Preservation of the religion of Islam means we do not disbelieve, we do not become corrupt, we do not deviate from, um, you know, um, God's intentions, and according to that, we get the blessings. We get, you know, to be walking in the right path. And this is when we start knowing truth about things. We start knowing guidance from Allah's, you know, allowances and restrictions and availabilities. Because later, when inshallah we get to the section when we learn about um, um, jurisprudence, we will know that we have things that are um, obligations, means we have to do them. It's not a choice, it's not an option. And then on the other hand, things that are restricted, prohibited, we cannot do them. We don't have a choice, not an option. And then in the middle lies the area where it's available. You can do it, you may not do it, it's up to you. It's your choice. For example, if you want to sit or stand, you're free to do that. But with obligation and prohibition or restriction, you're not free to do that if you stick to this religion. And then we start seeing that the middle area, which is allowance, means you can do whatever you want, stand or sit. But then, if, for example, within it, because of, for example, sitting or standing is allowed, you can do it, you can decide whatever you want. But if it's going to start affecting one of those objectives, then it starts, you know, becoming more towards what it is. So if it's affecting it positively, then it's better to do it. And if it starts affecting it negatively, then it's shouldn't be doing it. And you measure it according to the effect. So, for example, if you want to stand or sit, it's your choice. But if you want to stand for a long period of time, for example, without eating, then now, for example, your life is going to be in danger because you can't just feel dizzy and fall and hit your head. So if we've reached to the point that now doing something permissible, it's okay to do, you have the choice. But if your choice start affecting your life, so you're not preserving your life or your intellect, then it start leaning more towards haram or prohibited or restricted because now you are hitting and damaging those five things. We are only talking about three for now, but I'm just trying to make the connection between those things, those five objectives are the ones we actually measure upon. I'm going to do something. Okay, you can do it. It's not prohibited, it's not a must. But with your choice, if your choice start affects one of those five things in a negative way, then according to how much negative it is, it becomes unlikely, then probably it's going to be converted to be um, prohibited. For example, smoking. Smoking in the beginning it was allowed because it's nothing. Doctors didn't say anything about it. I'm talking like probably 50 years ago. Doctors didn't say anything about it. They don't know the negative effects about it. So in Islam, there is no specific rulings about it in the Quran. It's just something. You're burning something and, smoking it. But then when doctors start saying and seeing that no, it actually can affect life. Now the rule where the objective of preservation of life kicks, and now after we know the damages of smoking, smoking is prohibited in Islam. Why? Because it actually affects life. We cannot preserve life if we keep doing it, or we could affect it. So, as much as negatively it affects a person, then no, we need to stop. We need to preserve life. We need to preserve the intellect, the mind, because now the mind preserves, or the intellect preserves religion. Because without a correct mind, you cannot preserve the religion. So, preservation of religion means now so preservation of the intellect, you have a correct means of understanding. Then you can receive the religion, and then you can preserve the religion intent, the spirit of the religion, the text of the religion, the understanding of the religion, the context of the religion, and so on. And then religion will preserve for you the next one, the fourth one, which is preservation of honor. Preservation of honor means you do not violate, um, honor or people's honor, yourselves honor. So, for example, adultery is forbidden, even coming close to adultery, like, looking with lust, because now we start, um, entering a forbidden area. Now we started tampering with honor. Honor is very, very important in Islam to preserve the honor of a person, to not speak bad about them, not even behind their backs, not even when they do not exist, not even when they are dead. So, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, would one of you would love to eat his brother's flesh while he's dead? No, of course not. So it was given as an example for whoever is talking behind somebody's back about them in a bad way. Why? Because it's preserving a person's honor, preserving a person's dignity. So Islam is driving us to respect people, even people who are disbelievers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, we have honored the sons of Adam. Didn't say the Muslims, didn't say the followers of Muhammad or the followers of the prophets. Says the sons of Adams, everybody. So preservation of religion will lead to preservation of honor. And then after that, honor, after we preserve the honor, then we have the preservation of property. Now, why is that? Because properties are things. Honor is more related to human, and a human is not a thing. We cannot deal with a human as a thing. But property is things. Yes, they belong to a human, but they still things. So when we preserve religion, when we preserve honor, then we would be preserving property. But preserving property um, is not the priority. What is the priority? Is what we said. The same way we did it in this order. Preservation of life. This is the first priority. Then preservation of intellect. Then preservation of religion. Then preservation of honor. Then preservation of property. Without the one before it, you cannot have the one after it. If you don't have honor, you don't have property, because now you would be violating everybody's property. So when you preserve a person or human's honor, then you would be preserving their property. If you don't have religion, then you probably wouldn't be preserving honor. If you don't have intellect, you wouldn't be preserving religion. If you don't have life, you wouldn't be preserving intellect. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever kills a person without being um, giving the right from Allah to do that, then as if he have killed everybody. And whoever um, saves a life, then as if he have saved everybody. To the point where the saint, the Islamic big scholar and saint Abdul Qadir Jailani, one time he was going to pilgrimage, and he saw a dog, and that dog was wounded, was, with diseases in its skin and in a very, very filthy state. What did he say? What did he do? He actually told them to go and continue their pilgrimage. And then what he did is that he brought his tent, he put it there, he installed it, and then he stayed it there to take care of this wounded dog. What does that give you? This gives you that life is the most important thing. And therefore, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says that if the Kaaba was destroyed stone after stone, one stone at a time, means deliberately, it's less important to Allah than one person's life or one Muslim life. So life is very, very important. Um, as we learned, I think before I said this, that we care about doing, means we don't care about what's in the heart. If a person does good, then we stand with that person. We want to do good. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to be in groups where honorable people, rich people, would go and do groups and gather together to start helping. And he wouldn't care that they worship this or that. He would go there and he will start joining them and helping with them. So, preservation of life, then preservation of intellect, then preservation of religion, then preservation of honor, then preservation of property. When we do this, we are in the right path to, to have the correct priorities. Those are the five major objectives of Islam, which, if you see the jurisprudence rulings, you would see that they would serve one or more of those objectives. So, do you have any questions? Is everything clear? Go ahead. Okay. So, next lesson, inshallah, next week, we'll continue with those. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat. feel free. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.